3:30.
Okay, this being the time and place for the regular scheduled September Planning Commission meeting, I'd like to call us to order. Please call the roll.
Lawrence,
Here.
Borden, Tate, Way,
Here.
Wynn,
Here.
Temple,
Here.
Burrows,
Here.
Pike,
Here.
Pepper.
Okay, we do have a quorum. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes from the August meeting? And I do have a couple of corrections that Mr. Way and I were talking about. If you'll look at page 10 on the minutes, on the first motion, it reads, Commissioner Temple made a motion to amend the written motion to approve vacation. And that really should state, Commissioner Temple made a motion to approve vacation. So the to amend the written motion should be scratched, because that was the original motion. And then in the next sentence down, should be council not to, it said not to execute. So you need to add the word to between not and execute. Okay, then on page 11, in the amended motion, instead it says in the first sentence, the last word, it says as written, and it should say as presented. Any other changes? Okay, do we have a motion to approve these amended minutes?
Motion for approval?
Second.
Okay, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, those are approved. Okay, I'd like to take a moment to introduce the Planning Commission members and give a brief description of what we do and how this meeting is conducted. The Commission has 9 members. 8 of us are volunteers appointed by the mayor for a 6-year term. And we also have 1 member from the City Council. My name is Kent Lawrence. Our Vice Chair, Gary Borden, is not with us today. Our Secretary is Larry Way. Other members are Francis Tate, Myrna Burrows, Joseph Wynn, Eddie Pike, Forrest Temple, and our council member is Hunter Pepper, who is not here. Members of the public seeking to get an item considered by the Planning Commission must send an application to the Planning Department not less than 21 days prior to this meeting. Unless otherwise specified, all applications for development approvals are the result of submittals by a private citizen seeking some change in their own property. In making our decision, a primary tool used by the Planning Commission is the One Decatur Comprehensive Plan. This is a general community plan for the city of Decatur and was adopted through a public process to formalize a vision for the future of the community that represents the interest and will of all Decatur residents. In many of these cases, the Planning Commission does not have the final say. Zonings, annexation, vacations, sidewalk cafes, and some resolutions all require additional approval by the City Council before they become official. In these cases, the role of the Planning Commission is to advise the City Council. And the first part of today's meeting is a public hearing. Each item will be read separately and voted on after comments. If you wish to comment on an item, we ask that you come forward to the microphone, state your name and address, then make your comments. We ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Today's public hearing will have one type of request, and that is for minor plats. These are plats that have more than 3 lots, direct access to public service, and a topo provided for review. They are making minor changes to an existing platted subdivision. So, Mr. Williams, if you would please read the first case.
How are y'all?
Great.
I'm Tommy Williams with the Planning Department. First, we have minor plats. Minor plat, Crown Point, Lot 7. It is 0.26 acres. The current zone is R3 Single Family. The applicant is Lee Green and Associates. The location is 4214 Ruby Point Southeast, and the request is to approve the minor plat. Proposed land use is residential, and One Decatur future land use is low residential. One Decatur street typology is Ruby Point Drive is a local street, and there are no conditions to be met. A point of information is any relocation of utilities will be at the owner's expense, and any relocation needs to occur before construction.
Okay, is there anyone from the public that would wish to speak to this request? Okay, if not, do we have a motion?
Motion for approval? Second.
A motion by Mr. Pike, second by Mr. Wynn. Any questions or comments from anyone on the commission? Please call the roll.
Lawrence,
Yes.
Tate,
Yes.
Clay,
Yes.
Wynn,
Yes.
Temple,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Pike.
Yes.
And this request is approved 7-0. Okay?
Next, we have minor plat Valley Park North, lots 19 and 20. It is .39 acres. The current zone is R3 Single Family. The applicant is Pewright McAnally, and the location is 217 and 219 Clear Creek Drive. The request is to approve their minor plat, and the proposed land use is residential. One Decatur future land use is low residential, and One Decatur street typology is Clear Creek Drive is a local street. There are no conditions to be met, and a point of information is any relocation of utilities will be at the owner's expense, and any relocation needs to occur before construction.
Okay, do we have anyone that would wish to speak to this request? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think this was part of the discussion we had earlier,
Okay,
but
first off, if you'll state your name and address.
Michael Aaron Faruqi. No, I'll do that. I'll write it here. I don't think
Okay,
everyone needs to know my address, do they?
okay, that's
I
good.
live in the city of Decatur.
Oh, you can write it on there, that's fine.
Okay. I'm just looking at these snapshots of soda straw look at what we're talking about. And I'm looking at this specific plat picture, which is now in color when I look at it on my phone. It was not in color when I picked up one of these documents. And it's listed as Central Avenue Southwest. Is that the same as Central Parkway? Because I have no idea where this is.
Well, yes, it is part of Central, or it's an extension from Central Parkway, but this is actual Central Avenue.
So where is Central
This
Avenue?
is, it's the same road, but this is out closer to where you live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is closer to where I live. So I
Yes, it
actually
is.
have an interest in what's going on
Yes,
here.
sir.
Perfect. I do have a concern in terms of, and this applies to all the plats you're going to be looking at today, is traffic flow. What is the implication for all of these sites if they were fully envisioned and built?
Okay, all this is a replat.
Sir, I'm
Okay,
not done
this-
talking.
This has already been platted.
Okay, you've clarified that it's a replat.
Yeah, today,
And-
this
and
is
my-
just a replat.
My concern still is about what is the implication, because I do drive routinely. In fact, to come here, I had to actually come down this road. What is the implication for me as a homeowner who lives south of this location, coming north for future traffic and development as this thing continues to build? And again, that is my concern as a homeowner in that general vicinity. And actually, it applies to every single one of these. I have no idea, with the soda straw look that we as citizens are now given, and when we look at this black and white or color, it's very unclear to me what the impact's going to be as we look at all this future development.
Okay.
And so I would ask, and I've talked to Tommy about this already, I talked to you about it, it would be useful to have a larger area of interest look at where all these developments are, so we can say, hey, that's going to impact me, maybe not today, but when my kid grows up in 5 years and goes to that different school, I got to be prepared for that. Or as this new thing gets rezoned to something else
Yes, sir.
and becomes a business, I might have to be concerned about that because that's additional traffic, or maybe I don't want to live near any of those businesses. I'm pretty happy where I am.
Yes, sir.
So I'd ask you maybe take a look at that.
Okay.
And in terms of presentation, it's a little unclear. Thank you.
Okay, do you see the property location on the request? The address on the request of the application?
Okay, I'm looking at the plat.
It's 217 and 219 Cedar Creek Drive.
Okay, the plat,
There's something called Google Maps. You can look that up and you can see the whole area.
you know, I could definitely do that. But as a citizen in the city of Decatur,
Yes, sir.
who has limited time and focus, a lot of people cannot come to a meeting like
I do
this.
too, and that's what I have to do.
I
That's
understand.
what I do. I look it up on Google Maps and find it.
Okay. what I would offer is an additional product to support decision-making by this body,
Yes,
to
sir.
have an area of interest look, would not only be useful, but would also help the one Decatur plan vision be articulated to everyone to understand where things are in relation to each other. Candlewoods Hotel, or whatever it is, the suites.
Chairman,
How
are we
many
still
more?
talking about this minor plat? I'm confused.
Oh, I'll come back later. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Yes, sir.
Blake McAnally, P. Wright McAnally, represent the applicant and the owner of the property, 310 8th Avenue Northeast, Decatur. This plat and the replat have been through technical review committee. They've been reviewed by many different offices. The city of Decatur has a traffic planner that is well aware of all the developments in the area. All these things have been taken into account through the review process for the original plat and this minor plat. They've also been taken into account in regards to the MPO's work and the traffic planning done by the city, which is an office that's available for anybody who wishes to have that information.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Anyone else? You've already spoken to this, sir.
Well, we just made a comment.
You've already spoken, I'm sorry. Do we have a motion?
Motion for approval?
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Pike, second by Mr. Temple. Any questions or comments from anyone on the commission? If not, please call the roll.
Lawrence,
Yes.
Tate,
Yes.
Quay,
Yes.
Quinn,
Yes.
Temple.
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Pike.
Yes.
And this has been approved 7-0. Okay, the next part of our agenda is the consent agenda. This is a part of the agenda that the Planning Commission has a final decision on and does not require a public hearing. These items are read together and voted on as a group today. These requests are site plans, proposed developments on a collector street or above. Plans show building placement, parking, circulation, landscaping, etc. Certificates to subdivide or consolidate, a one-step process to subdivide or consolidate no more than 3 lots, and a survey is required. Same thing, if you wish to speak to any of these, you will be given an opportunity after they have all been read. Okay?
Site Plan 684-24, 7.65 acres, and the current zone is M2 General Industry. The applicant is P. Wright McAnally, and the location is Summit Drive. The request is to approve the site plan, and the proposed land use is industrial. One Decatur future land use is Flex Employment Center, and One Decatur street typology is Summit Drive is a local street. Conditions to be met is for lot 716 Summit Drive, a 10-foot easement will be needed for underground power lines, and that's a DU condition. And the point of information is any relocation of utilities will be at the owner's expense, and any relocation needs to occur before construction. Number 2, property could cut off access to utilities for lots not touching Summit Drive or veterans. Services shall not cross onto adjacent properties. Site Plan 685-24, it is 10.92 acres, and the current zone is M-1A Expressway Commercial. The applicant is P. Wright McAnally, and the location is 2319 Old Moulton Road. The request is to approve their site plan, and the proposed land use is commercial. One Decatur future land use is Flex Employment Center and Community Commercial, and One Decatur street typology is Old Moulton Road is a minor arterial. There are no conditions to be met. They have turned in an updated site plan and met all of the conditions. And a point of information is any relocation of utilities will be at the owner's expense, and any relocation needs to occur before construction. And number 2 is please submit utilities plans to DU for approval. There would need to be adjustments made to the connection for sewer. Site Plan 686-24. It is 2.29 acres. The current zone is R2 single family. The applicant is P. Wright McAnally. The location is 604 Beltline Road Southwest, and their request is to approve the site plan. Proposed land use is institutional, and one Decatur future land use is community commercial. One Decatur street typology is Beltline Road is a principal arterial, and conditions to be met is number 1, please submit utility plans for DU for approval. There will need to be adjustments made to the connection for sewer. And a point of information is any relocation of utilities will be at the owner's expense, and any relocation needs to occur before construction. Certificate 3631-24 is 8.08 acres. The current zone is M2 General Industry. The applicant is P-Wright McAnally. The location is 716 Summit Drive, and their request is to approve the site plan. Proposed land use is industrial, and one Decatur future land use is flex employment center. One Decatur street typology is Summit Drive as a local street, and there are no conditions to be met. A point of information is any relocation of utilities will be at the owner's expense, and any relocation needs to occur before construction.
Okay. Anyone from the public wish to speak to any of these requests?
Okay, as I understand it,
Mr. Chairman, would you say your address or write it on that paper?
Well, I think he wrote it on there once already.
Did you write it on there?
He hasn't wrote it on there?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Okay.
We're asking you to do that before you speak. We asked for name and address first, because that's what I stated in the beginning. So
Okay, and I said Mike Faruqi, Decatur. What's the problem
You just
with
fill in
that?
your address there.
Oh, excuse me?
They go to my file.
Okay. I didn't do this last time, Tom.
I know you wrote it down.
Okay. And I'll get to that.
You can just write your address down,
I can.
Yeah.
or you can sit down.
Or I can address you all.
The first requirement we said is name and address,
Okay, you got my name.
okay, and address.
Okay, where do I put address, Tommy? Right here? I'll put it right up top. Okay. All of those great pictures we just saw, do we understand collectively where all of they are in relation to each other? Because as just mentioned, there was a technical TRC meeting, I guess, that happened before this, and there was a bunch of engineers looked at traffic studies to figure out whether there'd be any impact, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and when I discussed that with Tommy earlier, he said that the traffic studies are only done if required. So what's the cut line for what is required?
Mr. Pruitt, would you like to answer that question?
I can. Most of the time, it depends on what kind of development's happening. Whether it's high traffic, like a fast food restaurant, versus, say, a church that has traffic Sunday and Wednesdays predominantly. What kind of road it's tied to. I know one of these is on Veterans Drive. It's currently a 3-lane road. We don't have any traffic issues in building. This is the storage units, the road properties.
The road properties, that's speculative.
So no problems with traffic there. The hotel group's building on Old Bolton and connects to 8th. And again, those traffic patterns are generally fairly low as far as coming and going. Usually people come, stay, and they leave. There's really not a big need for traffic study on that. And the church,
That's a vacate.
the
parking lot expansion.
Faith Church.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's expanding the parking lot. It's on the Beltline on the frontage road, and they're actually expanding the parking lot to the north. But they're not tying into any of the local streets. They're still accessing the Beltline frontage road that's existing, and the Beltline state highway, so it's got capacity.
And the reason I asked that question is because when we just got that first incident where I came up here and talked about the development on Central Parkway, and that's one isolated small plat of packages there. And so the discussion on what the impact of traffic would be was solely on that, or did it encompass all of the traffic that's going to be built up over the range of the
Well,
flats?
when we look at things, we try to, and MPO does this, or
Metropolitan Planning.
planning organization, MPO. They look at long-range traffic patterns, and they project out, when we get the state does some counts, we do counts about once or twice a year, and they project out based on types of development that plan to go there, what the traffic would be, and I guess they go out, about 30, 40 years. They try to project out those things, and you can see, hopefully over time, if it goes like they think it will, what road improvements might be needed in the future, so you can start looking at those things, talking to elected officials and other folks that may be involved as far as funding and making those go. Unfortunately, looking out in the future is not always, one area may be hot for development today, 5 years, nobody's developing there, so that crystal ball is impossible, but we do try to plan for the future and looking at projected traffic counts, yes.
And I will say, when these were originally platted, we did talk about traffic counts on these roads, what the capacity was and where they stood now.
So is there a look at expanding the street network out of Central Parkway to accommodate this increased?
What we did talk about back at that time when we originally platted these, that the first thing we would need were expanded intersections, that we may need intersections that had a turn lane in them. And we were told that there was sufficient right-of-way to add those turn lanes to these intersections.
So for all of the citizens in Southwest Decatur who might be going down Central Parkway or coming the other way, going through Central Parkway down to Hartselle or wherever, we don't clearly have an image on what that's going to be as an impact for traffic, where the new stoplights and stop signs and things might be for the future.
That's correct.
Okay, so the vision is very limited currently with how we're portraying this. Okay, clear.
correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion for approval?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pike, second by Mr. Wade. Any comments or questions from anyone on the commission? Please call the roll.
Lawrence,
Yes.
Tate,
Yes.
Way,
Yes.
Wynn. Yes. Temple,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Pike.
Yes.
Okay, those are approved 7-0. Now we'll move into other business. And just go ahead with the first case, please.
Vacation 551-24 is .22 acres. Current zone is R3, single family. The applicant is P. Wright, and the location is between Chon Avenue and Connor Street. Their request is to approve their vacation, and the proposed land use is resident institutional, and the One Decatur future land use is flex employment. One Decatur street typology is Chon Avenue and Connor Street are local streets, and there are no conditions to be met.
Okay, is there anyone in the public that wish to speak to this request? If not, do we have a motion to recommend?
Motion to approve. Second.
And we have a motion to recommend by Mr. Temple, second by Mr. Way. Any questions or comments from anyone on the commission? Please call the roll.
Lawrence,
Yes.
Tate,
Yes.
Way,
Yes.
Wynn. Yes. Temple,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Pike.
Yes.
And that will be recommended with a 7-0 vote. All right.
Next, we have a bond review for Glenmont Acres subdivision, phases 1, 1.1, and 2. The current zone is R3 single family. The applicant is P. Wright McAnally. The location is Pool Valley Road, and their request is to release their bond. And I did give y'all the totals already.
Yes, sir. You said the first phase was $77,014. Phase 1.1 was $21,334, and phase 2 was $19,463.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And on the record, get my comment from engineering that these have all been satisfied.
Yeah, these subdivisions have all been built and been formally accepted for use and maintenance by the city.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Temple, second by Mr. Pike. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, just for clarification, the applicant is P. Wright McAnally for Roush Coleman Homes, is that correct? Okay.
Okay, please call the roll.
Lawrence,
Yes.
Tate,
Yes.
Way,
Yes.
Wynn,
Yes.
Temple,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Pike.
Yes.
Okay, that's approved 7-0. And that's all of our business, so we are adjourned.
Not too shabby.